Okay, here's a short tutorial on how to use vSlider. Upon activating it, you'll see it pops up down here in the bottom left, and I'll click on this now to show you where you add your sliders, and I'm going to add one right now. I'm just going to call it my slider, and the button's kind of cut off here. I'm not sure why, but it works nonetheless. And now I'm going to click edit, and this is where I really create my slider. Now what's really great about vSlider is it's extremely flexible, and I don't think there's a single option that they missed here. So starting with the image width and height, you can design exactly how you want it to look. You even have control over the delay between images and the delay between the titles that you can put over the images as well, so they don't have to show up at the same time. Um, Also, they're automatically a little bit opaque, and you can change that. For the effects, it starts off just randomly choosing any of them. If you have a professional website, I would recommend Fade. The other ones, they're not cheesy, but they might be a bit much if you're trying to, maybe you're a consultant or something, you want to come off really professional. Also, these question marks are really helpful because they show you exactly how each option works. So show navigation buttons. Well, what are the navigation buttons? And this will show you it's the buttons on the left and right sides of the images that you can click to navigate. So you have full control over which images you want to show up, if you want the buttons to be used, the image buttons that show up below. Pausing on mouse hover is a good idea. You can even control the border color and width, and the border radius, which is the curvature of the corners, which you can see here. The font and then text options down here. Now there are more options even, and I'll get into those momentarily. Um, for my purposes here, I'm going to use the custom image source, and then down here in custom image, I'm going to add in a few images and add some heading text, and I can even make them link somewhere. So I'm going to add my images now. Alright, I added my images, and now I'm going to show you how to add them into a post. So I've got this blog post here filled with dummy text for example purposes, and over here to add my image slider, all I have to put in here is a shortcode, and the shortcode is vSlider name equals, and mine was just called, what was mine called? My slider. So my underscore slider, and I'll click update, refresh this page, and here you can see it's showing up. Got my images and my title text. It pauses when I hover. I can click through them. Now you might notice that it's not really displaying properly. The text needs to be further down. So to fix that, actually fool around with this for a bit, and just clicking enter doesn't work in the visual editor. But if you go to text and you go below and you type in an ampersand and nbsp for non-breaking space and then a semicolon, that'll force another line to show up, and I need two of them. And if you do this, make sure to stay in the text formatting and not click back to visual, because it'll actually delete your non-breaking spaces. So I click update, and there you go, now it's below. Actually, maybe I didn't need to. Now you might notice that it's also not centered. So if I want to center it, I can just add some center tags. Okay. And when I click update, it'll center the slider, but the navigation buttons down here don't center. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because vSlider has ways to fix any problem that comes up, and there's always going to be problems. But what I really like about it is that I know that for whatever need might arise in the future, I'll be able to use vSlider for it, and I know I'll be able to fix it. So what's happening is these are showing up not really in relation to the slider, but in relation to margin from the left side of the container. So what you need to do is increase the margin on the left side of the image button's placement. So I know my image is 630 pixels wide, so half of that is 315 Plus, it looks like there's about another 15 or so pixels here. So we'll say 315 plus 15 is 330, and there's already 100. So I just want to add 430 pixels to the left side. And now you'll see it shows up perfectly. So vSlider is really easy to use. It's extremely flexible, and I would definitely recommend that you use it.